Before we start the recap, here's a little background on the Fate world so you know when this story takes place. Fate Strange Fake happens after the 5th Holy Grail War, shown in Fate Stay Night, but on a completely separate timeline. The events of the Fuyuki War serve as a reference point for the American Magi, who attempt to recreate the ritual on their own. Strange Fake isn't a direct continuation, it simply takes place in the same universe. In short, it's the American Fake Grail War, set after the 5th War, in a new location with altered rules and unexpected outcomes. So now let's recap everything from Fate Strange Fake, Whispers of Dawn, and Episode 1. The story opens after the 5th Holy Grail War, as rumors begin to spread among mages about another war starting in America. Using data from the Fuyuki Grail War, an American group of mages partnered with the government attempts to recreate the ritual, but with several tweaks, creating what becomes known as the Fake Grail War. For example, the Saber class isn't supposed to exist at all. The war takes place in Snowfield and lacks both an arbitrator and a ruler. Because the ritual was built using incomplete Fuyuki data, the summoning system became unstable, creating irregular servants, missing classes, and unpredictable magical phenomena. To investigate, the clock tower sends 2 magi, Faldeus and Langley, to perform reconnaissance. However, Faldeus betrays them and shoots him down with his squad of soldiers. Calm and confident, Faldeus reveals himself as an agent of the American organization. For Faldeus, the Fake Grail War is not only a magical experiment, but a political message designed to prove that the United States can build its own supernatural power, independent of the clock tower. He wants to send a message, fully aware that he only destroyed Langley's puppet. An arrogant magus, brimming with pride, completes the chant to summon the most powerful servant. He succeeds. Before him appears the golden, haughty form of Gilgamesh, the king of heroes. But the king is unimpressed. The summoner never gets the chance to command him properly, as Gilgamesh immediately evaluates the ritual as flawed. Gilgamesh's summoner is then killed by Tina Chell, a Native American who opposes the American mages. Remembering that Gilgamesh is of the archer class, she identifies herself as a fake mage whose magic is strictly bound to Snowfield, drawing power exclusively from the region's ley lines. The immortal jester Karture, wearing a twisted grin, summons Assassin, a servant whose every movement echoes the legendary stealth of Hassani Saba. She strikes immediately, ending her master without hesitation. Yet Jester's vampiric nature allows him to revive almost instantly, his eyes gleaming with amusement. Rather than controlling Assassin, he chooses to observe her, treating the war as entertainment while carefully studying her obsession with purity through killing. He is fascinated by the fragile balance of her morality and wonders how long she can maintain the illusion of freedom he grants her. At Clock Tower, Flat Escardos overhears the preparations for the upcoming Holy Grail War and begs Lord El Meloy II for permission to go. Lord El Meloy II refuses, thinking it's a foolish idea. But Flat is eager to see the other heroes, and if he could befriend them, world domination would no longer be just a dream. Later, Flat mistakes a magical catalyst for a gift and believes he has his master's permission to travel to America and participate in the Holy Grail War. Without realizing it, he performs a summoning ritual and brings forth Jack the Ripper, Berserker class, a twisted embodiment of humanity's fears and the myths surrounding the infamous killer. Flat greets him with excitement and friendliness, completely unfazed by Jack's monstrous aura. Jack showcases his power and reveals that his wish, if he wins, is to discover who he truly is. Meanwhile, Tsubaki is in a coma-like state but still becomes a master. The young girl is made the unwilling master of False Rider, a shadowy, nightmare-like entity. A wolf chimera, originally meant to serve as a catalyst, somehow ends up receiving command seals and becomes Enkidu's master. Enkidu is not a heroic spirit but closer to a divine spirit, one who was once acquainted with Gilgamesh in life. Awakened by the sensation of being called, Enkidu is unaware that his fated counterpart, Gilgamesh, now walks the same battlefield. Before seeing him, Enkidu feels a mix of recognition and the inevitability of confrontation. He then approaches Gilgamesh, ready to battle. The mage who originally created the wolf is later killed by Phalus and his hit squad. Meanwhile, Orlando Reeve, the city's police chief and a magus, is the master of False Caster, a non-traditional, artificially engineered servant used more for analysis and strategy than for combat. False Caster, a laid-back and outspoken individual who frequently changes the subject during conversations. Rather than engaging in direct combat, he prefers to remain behind the scenes, focusing on preparation and observation. He openly indulges in worldly pleasures, especially good food and women, often prioritizing personal enjoyment over the gravity and seriousness of the Holy Grail War. Later, Orlando is visited by Francesca Prati, who openly mocks his ambitions and subtly hints that far greater schemes are unfolding behind the false Grail War. She doesn't present herself as the mastermind. Rather, she behaves like an unpredictable instigator who enjoys sowing chaos while manipulating others for her own amusement. At the same time, Enkidu calls out to Gilgamesh, which excites him, and Gilgamesh rewards Tina not out of kindness, but because he finds her defiance amusing and deems her worthy of continued existence. Gilgamesh then immediately summons his noble phantasm to confront Enkidu. As their clash begins, the overwhelming amount of magical energy draws the attention of everyone nearby. Gilgamesh unleashes volleys from the Gate of Babylon, while Enkidu answers by shaping the earth itself into weapons, the two forces colliding and tearing through the sky with thunderous shockwaves. Tsubaki becomes terrified of the lightning caused by the battle, which provokes Ryder to attack both Enkidu and Gilgamesh. They fight fiercely, but suddenly sense Ryder's approach. The clash ends with a massive crater forming in the desert. Meanwhile, a mysterious mage searches for a way to resolve the fake Grail War, but another convinces him to place his hopes instead on an intruder. After the explosive battle between Gilgamesh and Enkidu leaves a massive crater near Snowfield, Faldeus scrambles to control the chaos. He orders a full military lockdown and fabricates a story about a gas explosion, but the destruction is too extensive to hide. Meanwhile, Ayaka Saju, a mysterious young woman from Japan, arrives in Snowfield, concealing strange markings on her hands resembling command seals. Her fragmented memories imply she was influenced or manipulated into coming to Snowfield. Faldeus notices her immediately on surveillance and realizes she is no ordinary civilian. Faldeus monitors everyone in the city and identifies all individuals present. Back at the clock tower, Langley reports to Lord El-Meloy II that Faldeus was responsible for the chaos. Lord El-Meloy II speculates that the goal of the fake Grail War could be to attract more magi to the city in order to study the structure of the Holy Grail War. However, they do not know what Faldeus' true plan is regarding the war. In Snowfield, Ayaka is abducted by a desperate magus planning to use her as a sacrifice to summon the missing Saber-class servant. Before the ritual completes, False Assassin intervenes and kills him. Despite this, the spell partially succeeds, summoning Saber Richard the Lionheart. Saber instantly unleashes Excalibur against False Assassin, obliterating part of the Opera House with a single strike. False Assassin disappears. Ayaka again experiences fragmented memories and tells Saber that she will never be their plaything again. The story currently ends with Ayaka and Saber being detained by the authorities. The blast destroys all secrecy. Faldeus tries to devise a plan in response when, in a dramatic moment, Saber openly introduces himself as a heroic spirit, declaring the Holy Grail War to the world. If you want more recaps like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what anime you want to see next.